$70 for hour of gameplay? How much is worth your gaming hour? How much are you willing to pay for your experience? Are you paying for the game as the whole product or for the hours that you're gonna spend in it? Do you think that games are a form of art? Or maybe they're just a simple entertainment product? When enough is enough. Maygat World! Everyone values games differently. For me, they have a special meaning, like nothing else in this world. Of course, family and people I love are more important, but I can't hide the fact that in my view, world would be a sad place without games. I just simply cannot touch grass all day. There was a moment in my life where I couldn't play games, or I made the decision not to, just to focus on developing different areas of my life. Right now, I settled my lifestyle around game industry, so I don't have to push them away any longer. By this intro, I just wanted to say that I will be talking from the perspective of lifetime game world enjoyer. Everybody likes a good deal, and everybody has a different definition of what a good deal is. Some will say that the best deal is free of charge.
Valuables, or I would gut you like a fish.
Others will say that if a game is too cheap, it must mean it does not have value.
Some may call this junk. Me, I call them treasures.
Sometimes we can even perceive that fact non-intentionally, on a subconscious level, since we are programmed to operate every day around money. And if we like it or not, we do value products and even people, money-based. Look at Epic Game Store giveaways policies. You can claim games for free there, and the games change quite often. So I like to take a look there from time to time to claim something interesting. And I noticed that in 98% of those cases, I don't even play those games later on. Why? Because I didn't intend to buy them in the first place. They were out of my schedule anyway. I claimed them thinking, maybe one day I will play to test some mechanics or something like that. Plus, I like to treat it as a voting ticket. Yes, I want to see more of your games later on, please.
These are dreams.
Sales, sales, sales. Many times I had to catch myself just checking the shop out of curiosity, watching all the cover art, different names, different sales. Shops on all those platforms are designed to catch your eye before you can manage to go to the game you want to play. Like probably many other people, many times I found myself buying games more compulsively on sale, even at times when I didn't have enough time for playing, or not at all. I'm pretty sure that I was trying to compensate for missed playthroughs by hoarding the games for better tomorrow. But to my surprise, tomorrow always brings those new great games to the table.
Incredible!
I had to stop this madness. I'm much better at being in the moment. I mean right now, okay? These days. I have some dedicated time every week to play, which means I'm a happy gamer. If I buy a game, I do this with the intent that I will be playing it in the near future. And because I still have such a vast collection in the backlog, I intend not necessarily to complete all of them, but just to experience them to some level and still walk away satisfied. That said, I still find myself buying some games, knowing that I might not have enough time to actually play them for a while. Because I just want to support some developers and simply vote with the money. Boosting indie projects or even some bigger games that are actually not afraid of expanding our gaming consciousness into new forms of fun and creative endeavors. I'm just buying the ticket to send them the message. Yes, I want more of this, please. My guilty pleasure. Buying it for later or for never. But I never feel bad about such spending decisions, because I don't really spend that much money on other forms of entertainment or consumption. I live pretty minimalistic life, enjoying simple things, and I just work on my creative projects, spend some time with family, or go to the gym and play video games, of course. Simple as that. Plus, I use some new method for enjoying my games, trying them out for a few hours, experiencing them instead of trying to complete them. That helps. Especially if you like 4X strategies or complex RPGs, like myself. Okay, maybe buying games just to support it does not matter on a bigger scale, because few dollars will not change the whole market. But voting with money, that's all I can do. And that's actually what makes me feel good. Being a fertilizer. Because I really want to participate in this industry one way or another. It's the most fascinating creative endeavor. And I just want to see it blossoming into the 1,000 flowers. And if I have to scratch my head a bit while I'm looking at my backlog, well, so be it. I like to talk about video games, life around it, art, creativity, existentialism and well-being. If that resonates with you, give it a like, subscribe, and let me know in a comment what are you consider a most fair price for the game. What is your limit? Do you guys have your own limits on how much are you willing to pay for one game? My max limit is $70 as a price tag. And that's only for the killer game that I really want to experience right now on release. At that price I'm hitting for physical copy for PlayStation 5 or Nintendo Switch. And then this year we have Nintendo Switch 2 comes lovely with a $80 to $90 price tag, at least here in Europe. The biggest of the year. New console? Great. Everybody agrees that Nintendo Switch deserves the upgrade, but making games more expensive is stinky, greedy behavior. The only thing I can do about it is not to buy a new console. Because when we all agree on high prices and sales will not drop, the rest of the market will lift prices too, and we, players, will lose dearly. So then, are you ready to pay $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6? I'm not. It's not my cup of tea anyway.
To new beginnings.
If someone would wake me up at night and ask, how much would you like to pay for the new game? I will tell $40 to $45. That's my sweet spot. If I buy a game at this price, I'm happy. So it seems like I'm happy to buy indies and AA games, or I basically wait until the game will drop to this price range on sale. As players, we have very powerful weapon against the greedy marketing practices. We can wait. Unfortunately, being a gamer apparently means that we might have tendencies towards short rewards and compulsive behavior. Therefore, games always record high sales on release. And if games don't sell well on day one, some people will automatically throw them into the failure basket. People with the big bags of money that like to play different type of games than we do. It is often unfair for game developers of the published games that their projects are being cut down before they even had a chance to blossom. But that's how the market likes it. In old times, you could find those abandoned games in some random basket in the supermarket between the socks and the garden tools. Today, they are landing on last place in the Humble Bundle collection. But, beside of that, the rule of thumb would be, as long as I can get out of playthrough satisfied, it was worth it. Doesn't matter if game takes month, week or a day to beat. Money comes, money goes. But having a great gaming time is priceless. You have to believe in your gaming intuition. Sometimes you can just feel that the game was rushed in some places, but with obvious skips and shortcomings. A good trick for game developers is to make the first 6 to 8 hours of gameplay incredibly enjoyable, since most of us don't even stick with games longer and very few even finish them. In general, gamers expect longer playtimes from pricier titles, and that's understandable if the game does not provide a condensed sensation rollercoaster. Only longer playtime can save its value. But do you like to waste time in your game? Chasing meaningless indicators and going through the grinding levels? Skyrim is a great example. I played that game several times in my lifetime and have probably more than 200 hours in it. I was running in this game like a kid on the candy rush, opening doors I'm not supposed to, talking to strangers, saving princesses, slaying dragons, sacrificing dogs to evil gods, and never finishing the main plot. Recently, I made a new orc vampire hunter.
What next, giant snakes?
To enjoy this all-time classic again and to discover what I might like in it today. Maybe this time I will be able to find out what the main plot is even about. So far I understand only the ancient power hiccups and small, for today's standards, dragons. Some games can be replayable in infinite ways, while the others can only deliver a linear story or plot twist, which can give effect wow rather once. Both can be inspiring and memorable in totally different ways. Your limit obviously depends on what you prioritize, length, quality or both. And it isn't just about the money, it's about balancing gaming with the reality of your wallet, schedule and mental space. What is interesting is the fact that the value of games actually dropped down while the market continues to rise prices up. Why I consider value dropping down? It comes from the market oversaturation. But I believe that most of the games don't even have a chance for success. Not because the market is oversaturated, but simply because they make crappy, low quality, unfinished garbage, or overpriced wok pasta that is clearly unboiled. But frustrated Karen is trying to force it into your mouth, shove it there, saying in politically correct manner that it is all just al dente. Luckily, around all that garbage, we still have games every year that are refreshing, amazing, mind-bending and time-devouring. And if all games are just like vying for your time, value of your time in the market is raising. Game as an art. Not that long ago, I had the pleasure to play Midnight Walk, a short, handcrafted, cozy horror experience with a highly artistic approach to game development. Creators had to spend a ton of time handcrafting and animating clay models for the game. Like always with such ambitious handmade experiments, too many hours had to be spent on polishing the tedious work. It's an uphill battle from the get-go. You have to create characters and environments in clay, and after that do all the stop motion animation of the core movement. It's a beautiful game with great music. And since I'm always curious about mixing art with gaming, I bought it and I played it. I have beaten it in 5 hours and had a good time with it. Cozy and eerie walking horror simulation. I've found places with cut-out content and some raw shortcuts and transitions between the levels. Each level has its puzzles to solve, but they were very basic and were lacking depth. That is often a tax price for artistic experimentation, lack of time for polishing the core fun of the game. The game ends up like one of those clay figures, unique and beautiful, but barely alive. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to be too harsh on the Midnight Walk, because it has its strong moments, with immersive movie-like atmosphere and VR mode, which I did not test out, because I have no goggles. I would like Moonhood Studio to create more games in the future, but I always look for some level of engaging gameplay, and it makes me sad when I cannot find it in ambitious titles. Length is not really that much a problem for me, yet the game was lacking at least one more act that I guess was in the concept, but they couldn't make it in time for the publishing window. I do like to play some short adventure games from time to time, just to have a break from all the RPGs, 4Xs and tactical games that my autistic brain loves to pick up in majority. But I still would like to find, in those short games, some level of interactive challenge and fun gameplay. As I don't like to watch movies and I don't want to play movies, yet my heart still beats in the rhythm of the Midnight Walk. The game base price is $40, which is $8 per hour. Is that okay? Should it be $1 per hour instead? We all know that this game couldn't have 40 hours of gameplay, but could it have a $5 price tag? Well, in the ideal world, I would say $20 would be a perfect price. But since we have to live in this global greed hallucination, this price doesn't surprise me. It's one of those examples where you have to pay more for the art itself. I do treat games as an art form. In fact, I consider games the greatest art form humanity has ever made. That touches all the senses, even the smell, because the good game will keep you away from the shower long enough to remind you about it. If we treat game as an art, then experience itself will become the highest value of the product. Not even its quality or length, but the fact how it resonates with our desires, feelings, and reflections. Great example of that would be Psychonauts 2, the great artistic, mind-bending masterpiece with strong 3D platforming gameplay, alongside a kaleidoscope of crazy creative world-building ideas. Okay, if I will be treating game just as a product, I will be never interested about playing them. And there are many that I don't even want to touch with a stick, to be honest.
Oh, my stick. My favorite stick. Oh.
Especially those with a lot of game as a service features. Money is just a juice that should thrive and enhance our creative experiences. That's how I want to look at the gaming market. This approach does not support aggressive monetary practices, which are provided mostly from corporations and yacht funding groups that turn the games into just another mass-produced crap on the shelf. We all should be aware of unfair practices and stand against the abuse of the customers. They just want to suck our attention, money and time. And that's why they are focused on making games that suck. Suck it like you mean it. So we better be careful with our customer decisions to not spoil the market for everybody. Doo-dee-da-boo-da-boo. God bless indies and good old games. For their prices and for the fact that they are rather not containing aggressive microtransactions. They don't show FOMO pulp into your mouth. It's important to actually value the game studios for not abusing their player base. No abusive practices just became an actual feature of the games. Doo-dee-da-boo-da-boo. That's why it's important to follow the indie scene and from time to time just try to catch some golden fish in the swamp. They deserve better life. I hear often the cataclysm and collapse of indie gaming, when I actually believe that we are standing in front of the next indie wave because they are winning on so many levels with the market full of game-like products. They deliver the games that actually taste like games. They can be fun and challenging. They don't have to treat you like an idiot. That's why we love them. Some of them at least. Fellow gamers, a bright future in front of us, as long as we will not get flooded with the mass-generated crap quality AI game rot, brain rot products and content. Some of the indies one day might become good old games. And like the previous, these also contain a lot of eternal value with low price and high sale discounts. It's not the discovery to say that indies are where the real creativity happens. It's a world of experiments and prototypes. People full of gaming passion, where creators have to constantly struggle in combining their concept and ambitions with very limited resources. And that's beautiful for me. I always respected Woody Allen's style of production, like making movies every year with tight limited budget. That's how I imagine making my own indie games in the future. There is an interesting correlation between old games and indies, because they usually are not able to show all the details, have the voiceovers and etc. What do they do very well? They let our minds, our imagination, to fill up the holes. And what is beautiful in such a solution is that we kind of intuitively customize it to our needs and preferences. For example, how characters in game might sound, what is their personality, how they might look like, why are they here, how they could look in a group, which in game is just represented by row number under the unit. Sometimes things like voiceovers, for example, appear after the game release, and they can even break the concept of our characters if they sound completely different compared to what we were imagining on the first playthrough. Games have to provide some mystery. The ones that are trying to explain all the world lore, especially in the introduction scenes and first minutes of gameplay, are making a giant disfavor for themselves. And they are actually exposing naive and amateur approach with the storytelling. Games should own the credit of the player by the gameplay first. And then they can start providing bits and pieces of world-building information here and there. I often drop the games that hold me too long in the beginning on some tutorial trying to explain me everything. I need to experience before I want to know more, before I will be able to trust you. That's how the human brain naturally works. Indies like to start on $5 shelves, and price of $40 is perceived as a premium indie product, not even mentioning the good old games with often 80 to 90% sales. Mathematic quantity for me is then simple. It's better to buy maybe 2-3 indie games and some good old game instead another overpriced, highly processed, stuffed with bugs AAA experience. Data from 2024 gaming survey shows that 68% of players feel indie games provide equal or better value than the big budget titles. Thanks to the focus on quality over the bloat, their value lies in innovation, personal storytelling, and often unbeatable price to hour ratios, making them blessing for gamers hunting for meaningful playtime without breaking the bank. So take care of your diet, players. Think sometimes about how you spend your time and cash. Because the game you play, it's supposed to develop you in some way and make you feel better. In the end, you are the one that controls the steer wheel, if you want. And if you stay till the end, give it a like, leave a comment.
My mother thanks you.
Come by next time. Happy gaming, everybody. Ciao.
In the darkest of times, and on the way down your midnight walk.